Starting off in the early game in Call of Dragons can be sometimes confusing, can be sometimes scary, and it can be all over the place. So, in today's video, I'll be bringing three friends with me while we discuss what players can do once they install Call of Dragons and once they start their journey in the lands of Tamaris. What is up, guys? Meower here, back with a brand new Call of Dragons video. So today we're going to be covering pretty much the most comprehensive guide that you will need to start your journey in Call of Dragons. Whether if it's you're an early game player, you're brand new, you've played this game for a while, I'm sure you'll find something suited for you. But before we get started, joining me today will be three of my very good friends. We got Soul King Brook, aka Ken, with us.
Hey, what's up, guys?
We got Sod, aka Smart on Demand, for this video, aka Rajesh.
Hey, what's up?
And finally, we got Siggy here with us, one of the more active and more consistent free to play players that I personally know.
Hi guys, it's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so we're going to be going over sections of the game bit by bit to help you pretty much set the goals that you need to succeed in Call of Dragons. And well, and again, we're gonna be going over pretty much everything and touching up on it. But of course, in later on videos, we can go in depth more and more topics. So for now, we're just gonna be focused on generalized stuff, starting with gem usage. So, gems in Call of Dragons are pretty much the premium currency that you can obtain, whether if it's you're a spender or free to play, they will be your most valuable currency. For gem usage, one of the things that I would highly recommend is going to level 8 VIP or membership level as fast as possible in order to unlock your second research queue. What else do you think people should be using their gems on, Ken?
They should make sure to also unlock the second builder as quick as possible
Mhm.
because making sure to get your town hall to level 20, what is 21?
Level 21,
To
yes.
get the fifth Legion queue will be key in order to progress quicker in the game.
Yeah, and as well as use your gems for. I would actually not use any gems in the early game when you're starting for from the goblin market. Like, I would not recommend you buy any of this unless of course you're a big spender, and even then it's not really worth it once you start playing, because your only job is just to tunnel vision all the way to membership level 8, which should cost you a total of 35k gems. And if you're active in the early game and you're participating in events and participating in everything, you should pretty much pick up that number relatively fast before you know it. Collect your system mails, collect your quests, collect pretty much everything, and you'll get there in no time. One of the other things that I would highly recommend you use your gems on will be the speed ups from the VIP store, though I would only start buying after reaching VIP level 8. Now, for number 2, research. Research in Call of Dragons is pretty much like what makes or breaks accounts and what differentiates high value accounts from low value depending on the progress that you go for and the route that you go for. So, Siggy here will pretty much break down the idea of what you should be focusing on when it comes to research.
Yeah. In research, it's important to have a structured plan, especially on buildings and research itself, aka going for architecture or scholarship. Anything else I would leave aside until you have those to a certain point. After that, I would probably consider going for CP usage because CP is definitely going to be a big issue, and usage of the game for further progression. The war tech depends on where at you are in the game. Of course, once you have everything research and eco tech, to figure out in which direction you want to go, the next step is definitely going to go for tier 4 as fast as possible, since then, at that point, the game actually starts being fun and viable to play.
Hmm. I agree. I agree. Also, I highly recommend that you finish. Like I usually call these the big four techs in the economy tree, right after scholarship and architecture, which would be breath control, stamina, weak points, and military leadership. I would say these four techs, right after scholarship and architecture, are like the most valuable techs that you could do for your account progression, no matter what stage in the game you are in, because not only do they give you more CP, like they said, they also help you farm Darklings easier and get more XP to level up your heroes and just pretty much do everything out on the map. So, all in all, I think these are like some of the most important text that you should go for. And of course, after that, you start by getting the gather speed and finally the production. And honestly, I would recommend as like free to play players to focus more on the economy tech more than the military tech, other than, just trying to unlock the highest tier of troop that you can get at the time, which would be tier 4 as fast as possible, because that's where most players are at right now. Tier 5 is a different story, and we can dive on it in a different video. But for now, in tech, especially when it comes to war tech, I would get conscription as fast as possible. And then once you've selected the troop that you want to main, I would recommend you start upgrading the techs related to that troop. And don't forget, of course, the generalized Big Six, and other than that, you'll find yourself at T5's doorstep as fast as possible. And I think that's we've pretty much covered everything when it comes to research. What about buildings, Siggy?
Buildings, it's exactly the same, to be honest. You have to have a plan in mind. Your first goal is definitely always going to be to level up your Hall of Order as fast as possible, to at least level 21 until you actually unlock tier 4.
Hmm.
Same goes with the Alliance Center and the College of Order, of course. Those are the most important buildings in terms of helps to speed up your researches, your buildings, as well as getting passive percentages on the researches by leveling up the College of Order.
Hmm. Exactly. You should just be rushing the whole of Older pretty much. Get to level 21 as fast as possible, and then slow down a little and slowly work your way towards level 25. So, pretty much level 25 becomes a whole different game, and you still have to grind a lot more, but more on that in a bit. So, Siggy, do you think we're missing anything pretty much when it comes to buildings?
Just one thing, yes. I would
Hmm.
definitely not recommend using any universal speedups on buildings unless it is the College of Order, since you have a 2-in-1 deal over there, because
Hmm.
if the building is upgrading, you're not researching. Therefore, any speed up invested is always a profit.
I agree. That's actually a pretty good tip. I never really thought of it when I was starting out. Maybe that's why you're a better free to play player than I am. I just brute forced everything. All right, so we're done with in the city. So Call of Dragons map is pretty huge and it changes from season to season. However, one of the more I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing is gonna be scouting and CP usage. And with us we have Sod to walk us through it. Sod, take it away.
So first off, with your CP usage, you definitely want to make sure that bar is always empty or at least not full. There are a lot of important timers in the game. You're building the research, like Siggy was just touching on. Those timers are important, as well as your CP bar. Those are your command points, and you're going to use them to level up your heroes, gain resources, gain treaties. And treaties, or is it
Three,
arrows?
both.
One of the two.
You can get both
Both.
from the
Okay.
map.
Yeah. You can get both of them, and they will help progress your account tremendously, save you gems when you're upgrading those two buildings, the Watchtower and the Rally Beacon. The fastest way you can use your CP is through Darklings. It's pretty easy. They're everywhere on the map. Obviously, you want to go for the highest level possible because it will give you the most amount of rewards. You can also clear Darkling Forts. Those are done with an alliance member, which will alliances will be touched on later on. But
Hmm.
That's also a huge source of resources and a fast way to dump your CP. You just always want to make sure that your CP bar is not full.
Exactly.
And about scouting, scouting is kind of a way to get more rewards. You can clear parts of the map, like you can see right now, and you can find little things around the map. They'll give you rewards, speed ups, resources, a lot of good things.
You can also get more
And
tech.
free, yeah, you can get some free tech as well. So I would definitely recommend sending your scouts out 24/7. You can have them garrisoned so they don't go back to your city. Uh, and you can get through it a lot faster.
Hmm.
I would aim to try to get like 100% on the map as fast as possible. Gives you more free stuff and helps to progress your account much faster as well.
And gives you information, and information is pretty much the most powerful thing that you can have in COD. And you can also see the beauty of the map. You can start seeing behemoths, you can start seeing pretty much everything, and not to worry when it comes to scouting and the fog. This only happens, I think it's in the first 2 seasons, and then after that you don't need to scout anymore. It becomes just a chore. So
Yeah, I
enjoy.
believe you have to do it twice, right?
Yep.
This whole process twice, and then that's it.
Yep. So enjoy the scouting feeling while it lasts, 'cause trust me, you're gonna hate it afterwards.
It's worth it.
Also,
It takes a long time, but it's worth it.
Hmm.
also, just to add on the point of CP usage, it's a really efficient way to use your CP if you do forts initially for a few, maybe 500, 800 CP, and then farm Darklings, because you could actually go negative in CP up to about a thousand,
Thousand, yeah.
thousand CP. So
Yeah, it would just give you more time in between when your CP bar will hit max. You don't have to dump your CP as often. Just saves you time and maybe is less of a headache.
True, true, true. And then once you're done with CP, comes the one of the most important things: gathering resources out on the map.
Right. So when it comes to gathering, like when you start the game, I think when you're progressing towards T3, you want to have, well, first of all, you want to have your gatherers out as much as possible. If you're not in a war zone, if you're not doing something with your troops and you're about to close the game, whatever the case, you want to have gatherers out to be collecting resources. You do not want to be stopped by resources at any point, and gathering is a surefire way to make sure that you are in a better position.
Mhm.
I think on the way to T4, you want to prioritize your gold, your wood, and your ore. And then after you unlock T4, you want to start to dive more into mana because that will help you out a little more as mana becomes pretty much the bane of everyone's existence. But up until like everything before T4, you definitely want to focus on your ore, your gold, and your wood, as those will help you the most when upgrading your buildings and your research in your city.
I agree. I 100% agree. Like having also to touch up on gathering resources, um, I would say in the early game, especially, or pretty much in any stage of the game, you should have maybe something like 100 to 150k gatherers, just to help out with, you always want to use your like workhorses to gather early on, especially because if you get raided, it doesn't hurt as much to lose them in the hospital because you can't free heal them afterwards. So it shouldn't be much of an issue. Plus, like they gather the most efficiently, and if you are Wilderberg, which have the best gatherers in the game, that gives you an extra 5% resource. You find yourself accumulating a lot of resources over time when you don't even feel it. So always have your March queues full, whether if it's for farming Darklings, hunting war pets, which we'll touch up on in a later video, or just, gathering resources. These will pretty much set the foundation for your success in the early game, and just your success in all stages of the game, really, in Call of Dragons. I think we're pretty much done with CP usage and gathering resources.
Yeah,
Now,
it's pretty straightforward. You just want to do your do your best to make sure that you're always doing those few things. It's
Hmm. I agree. So now spending in the game. So Call of Dragons can be played as a free to play or as a spender. We have seen many successful free to play players succeed. One of them is actually in this video with us, Siggy. And we've seen other free to play players find a lot of success in this game. But what if you want to start that swipey addiction and end up maxing everything? So we're going to be just touching up on the important stuff that you should be spending on, as this is not really a spending guide. But honestly, I feel like, and you guys feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like the most important packs you should pick up: the first purchases, worker support, the special bundles such as Spring Sale, and the Shimmers of Glory, plus the pop up bundles.
yeah, I'm pretty sure the pop-ups are the best value in the game in
Yeah.
terms of what you can buy. The
Also
other
the growth,
things,
the
oh,
growth
the
fund me.
growth fund, yeah, that's also super good. I think it's like 10, $15, but it's has a lot of gems and other things as well.
Hmm.
Yep.
Um, Gem
Sweet.
market, you have double gems for the first time purchase that resets once per season. Also good value if you want to go ahead and get some extra gems. And daily deals, they help a ton with your heroes, which we'll touch on later.
I think daily deals are pretty much
Um,
the best pack in the game to get.
I'm pretty sure like the best all around pack you could possibly get. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then
And
also the season pass, the runic.
One
Yeah,
sec, Trulin.
yeah.
yeah,
So for the first season, it's $10 to get the additional 20 levels. But after that, it's I think
20. Yeah,
$20.
$20.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much
Plus,
for
it gives
this.
you a lot of in-game items and
Mhm.
gold heads. It's really good.
Honestly, I would say like pick up all pretty much almost all of the special bundles and just ignore these. They are, while good, the special bundles are just so much better and better bang for your buck, and there are just so much better alternatives and better ways to buy them, which we can discuss in a future spending guide. If you guys want to see it, feel free to comment down in the comments below. But that should be like give you a rough idea on what you should be spending on. Whether, of course, there's the lucky spin and the Forge of Light, which we'll touch up on in the heroes section of this video. Before we move on, do you guys have anything else you would like to add for spending?
no, I
Um,
think we covered everything important. I believe.
well, there's
Siggy,
definitely
you have something to say?
the Wheel of Destiny and the hero wheels in general,
Hmm.
and the pop-up bundles to those if you have the money to spend on it.
Yeah, I think gold stars are pretty hard to get a hold of. So the pop-up bundles, those ones especially when you're leveling up your heroes, um, level-wise, like XP-wise, there's pop-up bundles with gold stars in them, and those are also like, super, super good.
But the pop-up bundles for leveling up artifacts are not worth it, though. I think
I
these
Oh
are
agree.
no,
like
not the
the
artifact
only. I
ones.
think these are the only pop-ups not worth it.
Yeah, because you get a lot of artifact dust if you're actively, using your CP. You won't have any problems with artifact dust. At the start, you might, but later on, you'll have way too much of it, and you won't even know what to do with it. So I think, yeah, those are the only pop-up bundles that are not really worth it, but the rest are pretty.
Now for the heroes. So, heroes in Call of Dragons might seem confusing at the start, but honestly, there are ways to make it like have more than to make it seem like more than half of the roster doesn't exist, which would be maining a troop type. So there are four types of heroes or rather six types of heroes in COD and four types of troops. We have marksmen, mages, cavalry, infantry, flyers, and gatherers. And so for heroes, I would say you find a troop that you want to main and start working on that. And Siggy can touch up more on it.
Yeah, I think it's the most important topic in general because it's gonna make or break your account in the long run. It is most important not to be a jack of all trades. Don't try to get all the heroes to a certain usage level and not focus really on one of them. In the end, you're gonna have bad heroes and you're not gonna use them in the long run anyways. So pick your troop type, pick your hero, and stick with it. Don't get discouraged when you see other people perform better with other troop types. Don't try to pivot over. Just stick with your plan, and in the long term, it will help you, and you will enjoy it.
Exactly. And also, the most
Also,
important thing. Sorry, Siggy, go ahead.
yeah. Also, what I see often said is not to focus on a gold key hero, for example, Velen, because you're over time you're going to get him anyways. It will take way too long for you to actually use him. So feel free to also spend your tokens in those heroes as long as they are valid heroes, which you can also use later on in the game.
And one of the most important things that you should keep in mind when it comes to handling your heroes is that you shouldn't really star up your heroes unless you finish their first skill to level 5 because most heroes have a power budget and pretty much 80 to 90% of any hero power budget lies in their rage skill.
Yes. And Meower also has a video about that, so feel free to check this out.
Yeah, exactly. Give me some shameless plugs, bro. And flex my ego.
I got you.
Yeah. And of course, I have more in depth guides for certain heroes. Some of the talents might be outdated, but you'll get a general idea of how to use them and who to pair them with, because pretty much the sky's the limit when it comes to COD, but being efficient, the sky's not the limit. And now for the artifacts. So, for
Artifacts, I mean,
the artifacts, are pretty much, while they're not mandatory, they pretty much shift your gameplay into a whole different new league. And Sod can explain more about that right now.
all yeah. So artifacts are kind of it's a funny system in a sense as well. Um, you do polls for them. You can get artifact keys. Um, you have your regular artifact draws in your city, and then you have specific events like the Void of Light. You can use keys or you can use gems. And the probability is you with every 10 pulls you are guaranteed a purple artifact, and every 90 pulls you are guaranteed one legendary artifact. You can obviously get them sooner. That's just like the maximum that it would take to get a purple or an epic or a legendary.
Hmm.
And they're all good. I mean, all of the legendary artifacts they all have a pretty important role in the game, depending on your play style. Um, you can take a defense-based artifact in order to have your march be tankier, an attack-based artifact to have your march do more damage. Um, and I wouldn't be like off-putting about the purple artifacts, the epics. They actually do have their use. Like there's Magic Bomb, there's Freezing Ring that are still used to this day, even in the later stages of the game. They're still very, very effective in open field PvP. So I would artifacts are not like a prime like focus. I think it's much more important to focus on your heroes and your building and your research and overall artifacts can be put off to the side for a little bit. But as long as you, for example, for an archer march, you want to make sure that the artifact you're using is going to buff your archers. You don't want to have an infantry artifact on an archer march. You want to do your best to make sure that they match.
Hmm. Pretty much. Like other than that, I would say try to set goals for what artifact you feel like would be best for your march, whether if it's from the Forge of Light or from the regular artifact compodium, in order to just round out and don't stress about collecting them all, unless, of course, you are a big whale.
Yeah,
Yes, I
it's the
would
same
also.
thing that's been kind of touched on multiple times in this video. It's about a plan and having focus on certain things. You want to focus your artifacts based off the heroes that you are focusing, based off the tech that you are focusing
Based on the
as
troop
well.
that you want to main.
Yeah,
It,
exactly.
it all adds up pretty much. Siggy, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I also wanted to add on that, especially in the early game, since it's luck based, which artifact you get, don't feel too stressed about it. Also, if you get one of the artifacts which is kind of working for your troop type, feel free to level it up because you can reset it once every 30 days or 40 days, and you're going to get everything invested back, which you can then further invest into other artifacts which you later on gain.
Mm-hmm.
And also, to touch up on artifacts, early on, I was used, like, majority of players will have bomb flinger or the the
Other purple
necro,
ones.
the
Purple
mage,
spells.
the green mage one.
It's Magic Bomb or Bomb Flinger, bro.
Magic bomb, yeah, bomb flinger. Oh, bomb flinger for archers.
Yeah.
Bro, early on I was using that. To be honest, bro, I had barely any artifacts early game, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, trust me, like, don't be embarrassed to have that as you sending out a march like that.
Mm-hmm. And you have to keep in mind, Call of Dragons is a team game, not a single player game. So even if you don't have something, your allies might have it, and you both complement each other and you both add up. So don't stress about it at all. But I think that's pretty much everything when it comes to artifacts. Moving on. Events. Ken, you're the events guy. Go ahead.
Early, early on, there's a lot of events like this Craig event, which gives you a lot of Craig tokens, so you can pretty much get him to a reasonable uh, skill level. Um, also, there later on in the game, you'll notice more other events, which will include very, very good rewards like gold heads from, let's say, a caravan event, which you participate with your whole entire alliance. You also have behemoths on the map that you can participate in with your whole entire alliance
Mm-hmm.
on the first raid. And then when you do the elite raid, it is limited to a certain amount, but everybody gets the rewards. I know the frame is limited to whoever participates in the elite run
Mm-hmm.
and manages to be the first alliance to capture the behemoth in a certain time limit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Other than that, like these skin events, like skins are very valuable in the game to boost whatever type of unit march you plan on maining.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure to try and get those unlocked.
If you
And
can, of course.
would you like to add to this, Meower?
Yeah, I would say in events, like always try to plan ahead. There is always the event calendar, and you can always ask CS about what event is coming, and they could definitely help you out with that. So that, of course, pretty much the key to success in this game, and pretty much most of the themes and most of the stuff we discuss in this game, is just planning ahead, asking more questions, knowing what's coming next and how to prepare for it. Events are always nice, and you should always try to participate in as many as possible to help kickstart whatever you're doing, whatever goal you have, whatever you're pretty much doing, in whatever stage in the game you are in. To be honest, like I would always recommend you try to do as many events as possible. But for the final section of this video, activity and keeping queues full. And this is especially for the free to play players. So, Siggy, this is your territory.
Yeah, about the topic of activity, it's really important to be able to spend as much time in the game, especially in the early game. You want to be able to secure a spot in the top alliances, not depending on what season you are in. You want to be in a competitive alliance, in a spending alliance if possible. And therefore, it might take some no-lifing in the early games, especially as a free-to-play or low spender. But it will pay off in the long term. The same thing goes for, of course, you need to be active for all the events, for all the war, for all the BMOffs. You want to be present for everything, so that the alliance actually acknowledges you as well, and that you can stay in it. Because later on, you will be moved out of the alliance pretty quickly if you're not going to upkeep the activity level of the alliance needed for a win in the season. And that also, of course, includes having your queues filled up the whole time, which means farming the whole time. If not farming, having the troops out in the field helping, and so on and so forth.
Hmm. Just want to have presence, pretty much. You want to be as active as you can, because not only this will help you in pretty much any stage of the game, and by having queues full we mean whether if it's for building, researching, training troops, having your hospital empty. You always want to be proactive, pretty much. You always want to have something running. You want to be gathering, you want to be farming, you want to be doing whatever there is to do for you in order to maximize your growth and maximize your use to your alliance.
Yes, and activity not only means being active in the game itself, it also means being active in your community of the alliance.
Mhm.
Being in voice chats, being in alliance chats. Be there for your people and supporting.
Exactly. Just be a slave to them.
Yes.
But yeah, I think we've pretty much covered all of the fundamentals in Call of Dragons. You guys have anything else to add before we wrap this up?
No, I think those are like the most important aspects of being a good member, being a Call of Dragons player. It always starts with the fundamentals, and if you put some of these things that we've mentioned into good use, I think you'll be in a pretty comfortable spot.
Hmm. Pretty much, pretty much.
Shout out to my boy Wada.
Shut up.
Free up Wada.
Shut up, Ken. All right. So to wrap this off, I hope you guys actually learned a thing or two from this video. Of course, if you have any questions about the game, feel free to ask us in the comments down below or join the Discord. The link is in the description. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please be sure to drop the like. Don't forget to subscribe. It helps out so much. You know, it will help me the most. These guys won't benefit anything from it, really. But other than that, have a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next video. Ken or Siggy, do the meow meow.
Sorry, what?
Do the meow meow.
No, I'm not gonna do the meow meow.
Say, all right then. Ken, do the meow meow then.
Meow meow.
Oh, do the meow meow, bro. Do it again.
Meow.
Oh no, that was bad. That it
That
broke it.
was bad. That was
No, it
worse
has to
than the
be
first
two of them. Two of them.
one.
Meow meow.
Yeah, Ken.
Wait, it didn't pick up?
Yes,
It's
Ken.
not picking up, bro. Meow meow.
All right, all right. That was perfect. That was good. That was good.
No.